The night began like any other. People slept, worked late shifts, watched shows, or stared at bright phone screens. Cities glowed under normal lights. Roads were busy. Skies were clear. Nothing warned humanity that this night would be remembered forever as the night they lost their world. Captain Mara Holt stood on the balcony of a tall research tower in New Boston, drinking cold water and trying to relax after a long day. She liked the quiet hours. The wind, the faint music from a nearby cafe, the soft traffic hum, it all made her feel calm. She had no idea she would never feel this peace again. Then the sky changed. It started as a ripple, a thin line of silver light stretching across the darkness. Mara frowned and leaned forward. Stars behind the line began to warp like they were bending in water. She felt a strange pressure in her ears, like the air was suddenly too heavy. People on the street looked up. Drivers slowed their cars. Dogs barked. Something was wrong. The ripple widened. And then the sky tore open. A giant, silent shape slid out of the tear, smooth, dark, and the size of a small moon. No engines. No flames. No sound. Just a vast alien ship floating like a dead shadow. A second ship followed, then a third, then dozens, forming a ring above Earth. The world froze. Every screen on Earth lit up with emergency alerts. The news broke into live coverage. Cameras shook as reporters looked up, speechless. Mara stepped back, heart pounding. She opened her communicator. "Control, this is Captain Holt. What are we looking at?" Static answered. Then a voice. "We don't know. But whatever they are, they're not friendly." The alien ships moved at the same time. Light gathered around their bellies in blinding white circles. The lights shot down in beams, striking cities in perfect, silent lines. There were no explosions at first, just flashes. Streets vanished. Buildings melted. People were lifted into the air inside shimmering cages of white energy. They screamed without sound. More beams spread across the world. Tokyo. Lagos. Rio. Paris. New Boston. The world turned into chaos in seconds. The tower under Mara shook violently. Her balcony cracked. She ran inside and sprinted for the emergency stairs. Her communicator kept buzzing with broken voices. All defenses failing. "We can't lock onto targets. Any ship that can fly, launch now." Mara pushed through panicked workers running in every direction. She reached the stairwell. The lights flickered. The air smelled of burning metal. Far above, the alien ships blocked the moon like black mountains. She raced down 20 floors and burst into the flight deck where smaller ships were stored. 3 people waited for her: engineer Daniel Rios, linguist Sarah Jane, and soldier Rafe Kincaid. All of them wore half-zipped flight suits, faces tight with fear. "You saw the sky?" Daniel asked, breathless. "How could I not?" Mara replied. "Where's the Hawk?" The Hawk was a small scout ship, fast, lightly armed, and built for deep space research. It was not a warship, but it was all they had. Rafe pointed. "Bay 3. Pre-flight is messy, but she can fly." Alarms screamed across the base. A shockwave hit the hangar doors, bending the metal inward. The alien beams were getting closer. "We leave now," Mara ordered. They ran. The floor trembled with every hit outside. Another white beam split the sky, lifting dozens of people from the streets beyond the hangar. Their screams echoed through the collapsing walls. Sarah covered her mouth in horror, shaking. Inside Bay 3, the Hawk waited like a wounded bird. Its hull was scratched. One engine sparked. But the ship hummed when Daniel began the startup sequence. "Come on, girl," he whispered to the engine, slamming a panel shut. "Don't die today." The hangar lights went out. Red emergency lamps flickered on. Mara strapped into the pilot's seat and powered the flight controls. Rafe sealed the hatch and ran a quick weapons check, though he already knew the answer. Nothing they had could hurt the massive ships above. Sarah, get comms working, Mara said. I'm trying, Sarah replied. But something is blocking everything. A deep hum filled the air. Not from the Hawk. From outside. The hangar walls suddenly glowed white. Metal turned liquid. A giant hole opened, revealing the night sky, and one of the alien ships, close enough to see strange blue lines crawling across its hull like veins. Oh no, Daniel whispered. A beam pointed toward the hangar. Launch! Mara shouted. The Hawk leaped forward, engines roaring. The beam fired behind them, hitting the hangar floor and turning it into sizzling glass. The ship blasted out of the hole and shot into the sky, weaving through falling debris and burning towers. Earth looked like a dying world. Mara pushed the engines to their limit. The Hawk climbed higher, shaking violently. Clouds lit up with explosions beneath them. Alien ships moved with impossible grace, tightening their ring. Rafe stared out the window. They're closing the planet off. Like a trap. It already is one, Mara said. They broke through the upper atmosphere. Space around them was filled with alien ships, hundreds. Thousands. Like a metal storm. Yet for some reason, the ships did not shoot them down. They seemed more focused on the planet. Then Sarah gasped. I'm picking up something, a signal. From who? Mara asked. I don't know. It's not human. But it's following us. A small blip moved across the radar behind them. It was not a ship the size of the giant invaders. It was small, sleek, like a hunter. Daniel swallowed hard. They saw us escape. The blip drew closer. Mara set the course for deep space and gripped the controls. We're not dying tonight, she said. Not before we learn what they want. Behind them, Earth burned. Ahead of them, something unknown hunted. Humanity's last free crew fled into the dark, carrying the first spark of resistance. The Hawk drifted through the dark of space, engines running low to avoid detection. Inside the small ship, the crew sat in silence, shaken by everything they had seen. Earth was behind them, a dim blue light fading among stars. None of them spoke for several minutes. There were no words strong enough for what they had lost. Captain Mara Holt broke the silence first. Status report, she said, her voice calm but heavy. Daniel checked the engine readings. His hands trembled slightly, but he kept working. Engines are stable. Power is holding. But we can't go full speed for long. Too much stress. We need to rest the system. Sarah sat at the comm station with her headset on, flipping through strange signals. I'm still picking up that unknown signal, she said. It's faint. Slow. But steady. And it feels like it's watching us. Rafe Kincaid looked over her shoulder. What do you mean, feels? It's just radio waves. No, Sarah said, shaking her head. It's different. It's not like any signal I know. The pattern keeps changing. Almost like it's reacting. Mara narrowed her eyes. Is it from the aliens who attacked Earth? I don't think so. Their main fleet signals were sharp and cold. This one is soft. Almost like a whisper. Mara leaned back in her seat, thinking. Keep tracking it. But keep our comms closed. We can't risk sending anything out. They drifted deeper into space, moving toward an asteroid field that could hide them for a while. The rocks floated like giant, slow-moving islands. Some were as large as cities. Others were small enough to hold in your hand. The Hawk slid between the drifting stones until it found a shadowed space near a massive broken asteroid. Daniel powered down the engines. We can rest here, he said. But if anything scans this area, they'll still find us. I know, Mara replied. We don't have a choice. The crew unstrapped themselves and gathered in the small meeting space near the back of the ship. The air was tense. They drank water, ate small ration bars, and tried to calm their shaking bodies. They had all trained for extreme situations, but nothing in their lives prepared them for the loss of their planet. Rafe eventually spoke, his voice rough. We couldn't save anyone. Mara looked at him. We saved ourselves. That means we can fight another day. But billions, he started. We are not letting this be the end, Mara said firmly. Earth is captured, not dead. Sarah nodded slowly. And that's why this signal matters. Mara turned to her. Explain. Sarah pulled up a holoscreen showing waveforms. This signal first appeared right after we escaped the atmosphere. Not before. It's not coming from Earth. And not from the attacking ships. What then? Daniel asked. Sarah pointed at the changing peaks of the signal. It's like it locked onto us. As if someone out there saw us escaping and decided to follow. Rafe crossed his arms. Friendly or hostile? I don't know, Sarah admitted. But, it doesn't feel hostile. There's no sharp frequency spikes. No aggressive pulses. It's almost like someone calling softly. Mara studied the pattern. Can you trace it? I can try. Sarah typed quickly. Lines of data scrolled past. A few seconds later, she froze. Oh no. What now? Daniel asked. The signal is coming from deep in Dominion territory. The room went silent. The Keltar Dominion, the invaders, now had a name. The word tasted bitter. How deep? Mara said. Very deep, Sarah answered. Far beyond any map we know. And the signal is bouncing between multiple nodes. It's hard to track. But I found a main source point. She zoomed into a star map. A red circle glowed around a large industrial world. Rafe frowned. L9 Prime. That's a mining planet. A slave world. Mara nodded slowly. I've heard of it. Rumors. Stories from traders. It's where the Keltar send captured species to work until they die. Daniel's eyes widened. You think they're taking humans there? I think they're taking humans everywhere they want, Mara answered. But if this signal is connected, maybe someone survived the attack and found a way to make contact. Or, Rafe said darkly, maybe it's a trap. Sarah bit her lip. It could be. But, there's something else. She opened a second data stream. A faint audio clip played, distorted and weak. But the voice inside was unmistakably human. Please, anyone, help, they're taking us, not much time. Daniel's mouth fell open. Rafe muttered, that's impossible. Mara leaned forward, eyes sharp. Play it again. Sarah replayed the message. The voice was scared, exhausted, breaking. If you hear this, they're moving us, to the pit, please. Mara closed her eyes for a moment, feeling a deep ache in her chest. There were humans alive out there. Captured. Suffering. This changes everything, Mara said at last. We go after them. Rafe stared at her. You want to enter Dominion space? With this ship? We'll be killed on sight. Not if we fly low and smart, Mara replied. The Hawk is small. Fast. And we have nothing to lose. Daniel nodded slowly. If there's a chance humans are alive out there, we can't ignore it. Sarah looked at the map again. L9 Prime is dangerous. Heavy patrols. Strong shields. Mara stepped closer to the screen. I don't care how strong they are. They took our world. They took our people. We either hide forever, or we fight back. Silence filled the room again. Then Rafe sighed and smiled faintly. If we die, at least we die hitting them. Mara nodded. That's better than dying running. Daniel began prepping the engines again. I'll get the Hawk ready. But we need a route. Something quiet. Sarah already had one. There's an old trade path through broken star clusters. Smugglers used it years ago. The Dominion hardly scans it. Then that's our path, Mara said. The crew moved quickly. The fear in their bodies shifted into a new feeling, purpose. As they prepared to leave the asteroid field, Sarah watched the strange signal again. The pattern shifted slightly. Almost like someone, or something, knew the humans were coming. She whispered to herself. Whoever you are, please hold on. We're coming. The Hawk powered up, engines brightening. Humanity's last free ship turned toward enemy territory, toward danger, darkness, and a faint human voice calling from far away. And for the first time since Earth fell, hope moved with them. The Hawk slipped through the dark of space like a quiet shadow. It followed Sarah's smuggler path, an old route filled with drifting rock clouds, dead satellites, and broken star fragments. The path was messy and unsafe, but safe from scans. No Dominion patrol bothered to sweep such a chaotic place. Inside the ship, the crew worked in silence. Every step they took moved them deeper into enemy territory. Every hour increased the danger. But nobody turned back. For 2 days, they traveled through dust fields and empty star patches. On the third day, L9 Prime came into view. It was a harsh-looking world, gray, cracked, and covered with massive mining pits big enough to swallow cities. The atmosphere seemed polluted, with dark clouds rising from giant factories. Far above the planet, Dominion patrol ships moved in slow circles like metal vultures watching the ground below. Rafe stared at the view. This place looks like death. Daniel nodded. A perfect prison. Mara studied the orbit lines. We need a safe way down. Sarah, find a timing gap in patrols. Sarah typed fast. There's a small window every 4 minutes when 2 patrol ships turn away at the same time. We can slip in if we drop fast. Fast I can do, Mara said. The Hawk drifted closer. When the moment came, Mara pushed the engines into a sharp dive. The small ship sliced through the gap between patrol arcs. The hull shook as they entered the dirty atmosphere. Burning clouds brushed past the windows. Smoke waves made the sky look bruised. Alarms beeped as the Hawk neared the surface. Daniel held onto the walls. Steady, steady. The ship broke through the final layer of clouds. The ground below was worse than any of them expected. Huge factories roared non-stop. Tall towers released endless black smoke. Long lines of prisoners walked in chains, watched by Dominion guards wearing heavy armor and glowing blue visors. Giant machines pulled rock from deep pits while slaves hauled metal pieces with shaking hands. Rafe clenched his jaw. They treat everyone like tools. Mara landed the Hawk behind a dead mining crawler, hidden from patrol drones. Everyone get ready, she said. We go in on foot. No loud fights. No mistakes. They put on dark cloaks and moved through the shadows of the abandoned machines. The air tasted like ash. Hot winds blew dust across the ground. The sound of metal slamming echoed across the whole area. Everything felt sick and broken. The crew passed rows of slave barracks, small metal huts with barred windows. Inside, thin figures sat huddled together. Humans. Dozens of them. Some were coughing. Some were too exhausted to stand. Their clothes were torn. Their eyes were empty. Sarah felt tears rising but kept moving. They reached a lower mining pit. Dominion guards marched along the rim, weapons glowing with cold blue light. Prisoners worked far below, swinging tools into rock chunks. Daniel whispered, "How do we find the voice from the signal?" "Someone here knows something," Mara replied. "We look. We ask." Quietly. They slipped into an old tunnel that led deeper underground. The walls were made of rough stone and covered with strange blue cracks, veins of alien energy. Warm air pushed through vents, making the tunnel feel like a furnace. Finally, they reached a hidden chamber where the tunnel widened. It was dark, except for one flickering lamp. A man stood there, tall but thin, holding a metal pipe like a weapon. His hair was gray. His face was scarred. His eyes burned with anger and exhaustion. He pointed the pipe at them. "Stop right there." Rafe raised his hands. "Easy. We're not Dominion." The man stepped forward slowly, studying their faces. "Humans, from outside?" Mara nodded. "We escaped Earth before the invasion. We came looking for survivors." The man let out a long, shaky breath. "I thought Earth was gone." "It's captured," Mara said. "Not gone." The man lowered the pipe and leaned against the wall, shaking slightly. "My name is Major Aaron Cade. I served in the outer defense lines before everything fell." Daniel's eyes widened. "I've heard of him. He was listed as missing after the first wave." Cade gave a tired smile. "Not missing. Taken." Sarah stepped closer. "Major, was it you who sent the signal?" Cade shook his head. "No. That wasn't me. But I know who did. Follow me." He led them through a narrow crack in the tunnel wall, hidden behind old mining equipment. The crack opened into a large underground chamber. And inside were people. Hundreds of them. Humans, yes, but also aliens of different shapes and colors, species the Dominion had enslaved from across the galaxy. They sat around makeshift fires. Some were injured. Some were repairing tools into weapons. Some whispered quietly. All of them looked up as the crew entered. Rafe whispered, "A resistance." Cade nodded proudly. "We've been hidden for months. We attack patrols, steal supplies, free who we can. But the Dominion numbers are too big. We've been losing more than we save." Mara studied the room with awe. "You kept this alive with nothing but scraps." "We kept it alive with anger," Cade said. "And a promise." "What promise?" Sarah asked. Cade pointed to a small platform where old machines hummed softly. On it sat a communication device, rusted, patched with wires, but glowing faintly. "That," Cade said, "sent the signal you heard." Sarah stepped closer. "But who used it?" A small figure moved behind the machine. A young human boy, maybe 16, thin, tired, but with sharp eyes, peeked out. Cade placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "His name is Eli. He worked the old comm system. He found a weak Dominion channel and changed it just enough to send out a human cry for help." Eli looked at the crew, nervous but hopeful. "I didn't think anyone would hear," he said softly. "But I had to try." Mara knelt to meet his eyes. "You did more than try. You saved us. And now, we save you." But Cade's face hardened. "There's something more. Something bigger. The Dominion didn't invade Earth for land or slaves. They were after something under the crust." Daniel frowned. "What something?" Cade pointed to the blue veins in the stone wall, glowing faintly like frozen lightning. "Star metal," he said. "An ancient kind. Very rare. Very powerful. And the largest deposit in the galaxy was under Earth." Mara felt a chill run through her. "So they stole our world, for this?" Cade nodded. "And they're moving the biggest piece, the core sample, to their main system. With it, they can power superweapons. Maybe even a planet killer." Silence fell in the chamber. Rafe clenched his fists. "Then we stopped them." Cade shook his head. "We can't. Not alone. But with your ship, maybe we have a chance." Mara stood tall. "Tell us what we need to do." And in that broken world, under the weight of smoke and pain, a spark of rebellion began to burn brighter. Humanity was not finished. Not yet. The underground chamber grew silent as Major Cade led the crew toward a deeper tunnel. The air got warmer, heavier, and filled with strange blue light. The glowing veins in the stone walls pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Mara, Daniel, Sarah, and Rafe followed closely, watching every shadow. Cade spoke in a low voice. The Dominion call this metal astrocore. Long ago, some ancient civilization used it to power huge machines. Machines strong enough to move moons. Or destroy them. Daniel ran his hand along the glowing stone. It felt warm, almost alive. Earth had this under its crust, and nobody knew. Cade nodded. The Dominion knew. They've been searching for it for centuries. Their scanners picked up Earth's hidden deposit 3 years ago. That's when they began planning the invasion. Sarah frowned. But the blue veins here, they look different from normal rock veins. They are, Cade said. Astrocore is not just metal. It reacts to living energy. Especially human energy. Rafe raised an eyebrow. Human? Why humans? Cade didn't answer. He simply kept walking. The tunnel opened into a large cavern, a secret vault carved by slaves long before the resistance formed. Bright blue light lit the entire space. Machines hummed in slow rhythm. In the center of the cavern, inside a circular metal chamber, sat a strange object the size of a backpack. It floated above a pedestal. It glowed with soft blue fire. And it pulsed like a living heart. Sarah gasped. Is that the artifact? Cade nodded. A fragment of the larger astrocore deposit stolen from Earth. The Dominion carved it out 2 days before the full invasion. They planned to transport it to their main world, but something went wrong. The artifact rejected their machines. It became unstable. They abandoned it here until they could bring special tech. Daniel stared at it, amazed. It's beautiful. And dangerous. Cade crossed his arms. The Dominion fear this thing. When it activates, it disrupts their weapons. Their armor. Even their scanners. Rafe smirked. So that's why they hid it away. They're scared of their own treasure. Mara stepped closer to the artifact. Something inside the glowing core swirled like liquid starlight. The air around it hummed with a soft, warm vibration. Sarah touched her chest. Do you feel that? Like it's calling. It reacts to humans, Cade repeated. We discovered that when Eli got too close once. The light grew stronger. We think humans somehow trigger its energy. Mara looked at Cade. Why? What makes humans special? Cade raised a hand toward one of the pulsating walls. Astrocore responds to emotion. Strength. Hope. Fear. Rage. Humans feel stronger than most species. That makes us unique to it. Daniel blinked. The Dominion invaded Earth for emotional batteries? Cade shook his head. No. For power. This artifact is only one piece. But the largest core fragment, deep under Earth, is already on a Dominion ship heading toward the central system. If they activate the full core, their empire becomes unstoppable. Rafe frowned. So what do we do with this one? Before Cade could answer, the artifact flashed bright. A wave of blue light expanded outward. The crew stepped back, shielding their eyes. Machines around the cavern flickered. A buzzing sound filled the chamber. That's new, Daniel said nervously. Cade grabbed Mara's arm. Your arrival changed something. Maybe it senses hope again. The light dimmed slowly until the artifact returned to its soft glow. But something was different. Sarah approached again. Wait, look at the pattern. It's showing something. Blue lines moved inside the core like symbols rearranging themselves. They formed shapes, circles, arrows, star maps. Mara stared. It's giving directions. Cade nodded. It wants to be taken. It wants to go home. Home? Daniel asked. The main core, Cade said. The one the Dominion stole from Earth. This artifact is like a piece trying to return to its hole. Rafe crossed his arms. Good. We take it and smash their plans to dust. Cade lifted one hand. Not so fast. The Dominion will detect the artifact the moment it leaves the vault. Its energy signature is too strong. Unless, Mara said, we hide it using the Hawk's shield dampeners. Daniel thought for a moment. That might work. If we tune the shields to the right frequency, we can mask the pulse for maybe 5 minutes at a time. Sarah nodded. Enough to fly low and escape. Cade exhaled. Then you must move fast. Once they sense the artifact is missing, they will send everything they have. Mara stepped forward, determination in her voice. We didn't lose Earth to give up now. She reached toward the glowing core. Blue light gathered around her hand. The air vibrated. The artifact's glow grew brighter. Careful. Daniel warned. But Mara kept her hand steady. When her fingers touched the artifact, it felt warm, like touching soft fire without pain. The light around her hand wrapped gently around her skin. Sarah whispered, it's bonding with her. The artifact lowered itself and settled into Mara's hands. It shrank slightly, forming a shape she could hold, like a smooth, glowing sphere with swirling lights inside. The whole cavern hummed. Cade looked at Mara with awe. It chose you. Mara felt a deep thrum in her chest, a feeling of strength, sadness, and hope all mixed together. This is ours now, she said softly. And we're going to use it. Before anyone could celebrate, an explosion echoed through the tunnels. Boom! Dust fell from the ceiling. The blue veins flickered. Rafe grabbed his gun. What was that? Cade's face turned pale. They've found the resistance tunnels. Another explosion. Louder. Sarah's device beeped. Dominion troops, inbound. At least 20. Maybe more. Daniel looked at Mara. We need to go. Now. Cade nodded quickly. Take the artifact. We'll slow them down. Mara shook her head. You're coming with us. Cade hesitated. My people. We save who we can, Mara said. But if we lose the artifact, we lose everything. The cavern lights flickered again. Screams echoed down the tunnel. The Dominion was close. Mara gripped the glowing sphere tighter. In that moment, she felt the artifact pulse, like it shared her fear and her resolve. Everyone move, she shouted. The resistance scrambled. The crew ran toward the escape route. Blue lights shined brighter as the artifact reacted to danger. Behind them, Dominion soldiers burst into the tunnels with glowing weapons. The chase began. The artifact hummed in Mara's arms, guiding them toward a future filled with fire, danger, and a spark of hope bright enough to cut through the dark. The tunnels shook as Dominion troops stormed into the underground chambers. Their blue visor lights flashed like cold fire. Shouts, metal boots, and weapon blasts echoed through the stone walls. The resistance fighters scrambled to defend their hiding place, but they were outnumbered. Mara ran at the front of the crew, holding the glowing artifact tight against her chest. The sphere pulsed with warm blue light, almost as if it understood what was happening and was urging them onward. Cade followed beside her. Keep moving. If they get the artifact back, everything is lost. Rafe fired behind them, stopping 2 Dominion soldiers who tried to flank the group. We can't hold them off much longer. Then we don't stop. Mara ordered. We reach the Hawk, no matter what. They sprinted through narrow passages until they reached the old mining lift. It was rusted, covered in dust, and barely working. Daniel slammed the controls. Sparks flew, gears groaned, and the lift jerked upward. Above them, Dominion soldiers reached the tunnel entrance. Blue energy bolts rained down. Rafe shielded Sarah. Keep your head down. The lift rattled violently as a blast struck the metal platform. For a moment, it seemed like it would collapse. But then the artifact flashed, sending out a small wave of energy that pushed the incoming blasts away from the lift. Daniel stared in shock. It protected us. Mara didn't look surprised. It knows its own enemies. The lift reached the top level, a ruined mining field lit by harsh red lights. Smoke drifted across the broken ground. They jumped off and ran toward the hiding spot where the Hawk waited. But the Dominion was already there. 3 patrol ships circled the area. 10 soldiers stood near the Hawk, scanning for life signs. Their weapons glowed with sharp blue light. "We're cut off," Rafe whispered. "No," Mara said, gripping the artifact. "Not yet." The artifact pulsed again, brighter this time. Blue sparks floated around Mara's arms. The air rippled. Dominion soldiers turned, confused. Sarah gasped. "Mara, it's reacting to you again." The nearest Dominion guard raised his weapon. "Surrender the core fragment." Mara stepped forward slowly. "Come take it." The guard fired. A bright bolt flew toward her. But the artifact flashed, sending out a sudden, powerful shockwave of blue energy in all directions. The bolt reversed midair and struck the guard instead. All the other Dominion troops staggered back, their weapons flickering. The patrol ships overhead dipped as their engines struggled to stay stable. Rafe blinked. "This thing is insane." Daniel grabbed him. "Move! While their systems are down." The crew sprinted across the field. Cade shouted orders to the resistance fighters helping them, "Fall back. Protect the civilians. We'll regroup later." Dominion soldiers tried to recover, but every time they lifted their weapons, the artifact pulsed and weakened them again. They reached the Hawk. Daniel opened the hatch. Rafe pulled Cade inside. Sarah helped 2 alien resistance members climb aboard, giving them a chance to escape. Mara was the last to enter. She turned back for a final look at the burning mining world. Prisoners were still running. Dominion troops still firing. And above, more ships were descending. "We'll be back," she whispered. The Hawk's engines roared to life. They lifted off just as more Dominion blasts hit the ground where they had stood seconds earlier. As the Hawk shot into the sky, Sarah scanned behind them. "They're calling reinforcements. A full battle group." Rafe strapped in. "Let them follow. They'll choke on our dust." Mara pushed the throttle. "We go to warp the moment we clear the atmosphere." The sky around them turned from red to dark blue to black. "Almost there," Daniel said. But suddenly, a giant Dominion cruiser appeared in front of them, blocking their path. Its hull glowed with blue veins similar to the artifact's color. This one was clearly built to handle astrocore energy. Sarah gasped. "That's their core handler ship." Daniel whispered, "It can track the artifact." The Dominion cruiser opened its main cannon. A bright blue glow charged inside the barrel. Mara gritted her teeth. "Hold steady." The artifact pulsed harder. It grew hotter in Mara's hands. The humming grew louder, stronger, almost painful. Then, "Fwum!" A massive blast fired from the cruiser. At the same moment, the artifact released a shockwave so powerful that the Hawk shook violently. The blast from the cruiser curved away, missing the ship by a few meters. Rafe shouted, the artifact turned the shot. "Now!" Mara yelled. "Jump!" Daniel slammed the warp control. Space stretched into silver lines. The Hawk snapped into warp speed, escaping the broken world behind them. For several minutes, nobody moved. The crew sat breathing hard, covered in sweat and dust. Finally, Sarah leaned back. "We did it. We actually did it." Cade shook his head. "This is only the beginning." Mara placed the artifact gently on a small metal stand. Its glow dimmed slightly, as if resting. She stared at it. "We have the weapon they fear most. And we know where they're taking the main core." Daniel opened a star map. A red mark flashed deep inside Dominion territory. Their central system, he said. The beating heart of their empire. Sarah whispered, and we're heading right at it. Rafe grinned, despite his bruises. About time we hit back. Mara nodded. We gather allies. Free more humans. Build a fleet. And when the time is right. She looked out the window at the endless stars rushing past. We strike at the center. The artifact pulsed again, softly, warmly, like it understood their mission. Humanity had lost their planet. But now, with this powerful fragment and rising allies, they were no longer running. They were fighting back. And the Dominion had no idea what was coming for them. The Hawk moved through space for many days, jumping from star to star, passing broken moons, dead stations, and silent worlds taken by the Dominion. Everywhere they went, the crew found signs of pain, but also signs of hope. Small groups of escaped prisoners, rebel ships hiding in asteroid belts, alien clans waiting for someone brave enough to lead them. Captain Mara Holt became that someone. She and her crew used the artifact's strange power to disable Dominion ships, free captured humans, and help alien species rise against their oppressors. Every system they visited added new fighters to their cause. Some brought small ships, some brought weapons, and others simply brought hands willing to build and repair. Soon, a fleet was forming. Humans. Keltari reptiles. Stone-skinned Thryn. Feathered Yali. Even the silent methane breathers called the Corps joined them. Cade stood beside Mara as more ships gathered on the main screen. It's not big enough to match the Dominion, he said quietly. But it has something the Dominion never had. Mara nodded. Hope. Sarah looked up from the comm system. I picked up a distress call from a human cruiser. They escaped a Dominion patrol and say they have important information. Put them through, Mara said. A tired human face appeared on the holoscreen. She wore a torn officer uniform and had bandages on her forehead. This is Commander Nyla Jetton of the Earth Liberation Group, she said. We stole data from the Dominion's core network. Earth is in danger. Mara stepped closer. Tell me. The Dominion plans to begin final processing on Earth within 4 days, Jetton said. They want to strip the planet for resources and destroy what's left. They don't need Earth anymore. They already took the Astrocore. Silence filled the Hawk. Daniel swallowed. 4 days. Rafe slammed his fist on the table. Then we can't wait anymore. Mara looked at her crew. Every face showed fear, but also fire. This is it, Mara said. We attack their command network. And we take Earth back. Cade nodded. Your artifact can shut down their systems if used close enough to the control hub. And where is that? Sarah asked. Jetton displayed coordinates. In Earth orbit. The Dominion built a huge shield ring around the planet. The hub is inside it. Mara exhaled slowly. Then that's where we go. The fleet gathers. The rebel fleet met at the edge of the Sol system. More than 100 ships formed a rough circle, damaged, mismatched, but determined. Some were old cargo craft turned into battle carriers. Some were stolen Dominion scouts. Others were handmade fighters from alien worlds unfamiliar with war. Mara stood on the Hawk's bridge, staring at the view. Her home star, Earth Star, shone in the distance like a warm flame. This is it, she whispered. Sarah looked at her. We're going home. The ship's speakers crackled. Cade's voice rose across the fleet. Today, we fight not as separate species, but as one. Cheers echoed from ship to ship. Mara gripped the artifact, now glowing bright and steady. Set course, she said. Take us in. The battle for Earth. The moment the fleet entered the system, Dominion ships appeared like a steel storm. Hundreds of them. Their weapons lit up the dark of space with blue fire. The battle began instantly. Lasers streaked between ships. Explosions lit the void. Rebel fighters darted around Dominion destroyers, firing small missiles. Alien cruisers slammed into enemy lines with shields burning. The sound of war filled every comm channel, shouts, alarms, commands, cries. The Hawk weaved through the chaos like a silver arrow. Daniel shouted, "Enemy fighters on our tail." Rafe fired from the back cannon. "Not for long." Sarah yelled, "The shield ring is powering up, if it closes, nothing gets through." Mara held the artifact close. Its hum grew stronger. "Get me close," she said. "The artifact can break the ring." Cade's voice came from a nearby ship. "We'll clear a path." Alien ships surged forward, taking hits to protect the Hawk. One Yali vessel exploded in bright feathers of fire. A core methane cruiser collided with a Dominion battleship, destroying both. The Hawk reached the shield ring. A massive circle of metal and energy surrounded Earth, glowing with deadly blue light. Inside the ring, the planet looked wounded, dark patches, broken cities, oceans disturbed by strange currents. Seeing Earth like that hit the crew harder than any weapon. Sarah's voice shook. They hurt our world." Mara closed her eyes. "Not anymore." She lifted the artifact. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, a burst of blue-white light erupted from the artifact. It shot into the shield ring like a spear. The ring flickered, groaned, and shattered. Energy spilled in all directions as giant metal pieces drifted away, powerless. The Dominion fleet staggered. Their ships flickered like dying stars. Cade shouted, "Their network is failing. Push forward." The rebels surged. Dominion ships exploded one by one as their systems crashed. But one massive ship remained, a black tower of steel descending toward Earth's atmosphere. Sarah gasped. "That's the core carrier ship. The one holding Earth's astrocore." Mara clenched her jaw. "Then that's our final target." Boarding the Colossus. The Hawk sped after the giant ship, dodging debris and enemy fire. They reached a large open hangar and landed hard. "Everyone, move!" Mara yelled. They stormed inside. Dominion soldiers rushed toward them, but the artifact weakened their armor. Rafe and Cade fought through the corridors, clearing a path. Sarah guided them using the stolen blueprints. Daniel hacked doors with shaking hands. Finally, they reached the control chamber. Inside, a huge core of glowing star metal floated within a cage of machinery. A Dominion commander stood before it, a tall, armored figure with glowing blue eyes. "You cannot stop evolution," the commander growled. "The Dominion will rise. Your world will die." Mara stepped forward, artifact in hand. "Not today." The commander fired a massive blast. But the artifact answered. A wave of brilliant light filled the room. The Dominion commander's armor shut down. He fell to his knees as the entire ship trembled. Mara pressed the artifact into the main control console. Blue filaments spread out, crawling through the ship like growing vines. The Dominion network collapsed. Earth rises again. Outside, every Dominion ship fell silent. Some drifted. Some crashed. Some simply shut down like dead machines. The rebel fleet cheered across every channel. Cade shouted, "We did it. We broke them." Sarah cried with relief. Daniel laughed. Rafe punched the air. Mara stared at Earth on the screen. Clouds moved slowly over broken lands. The oceans glimmered weakly. The world looked tired, but alive. "We're going home," she said softly. "Return to the blue world." The Hawk landed on a damaged but free Earth. Humans poured from shelters. Survivors hugged. Children cried. Old men and women looked at the sky with hope instead of fear. Mara stepped onto Earth's soil, the artifact now dim and peaceful. Rafe whispered, "We took it back." Daniel nodded. "We really did." Sarah wiped tears. "Earth is ours again." Mara looked at her crew, her family, then at the rising sun breaking through dusty clouds. "This is just the beginning," she said. "We rebuild. We heal. And we make sure no one ever steals our home, or our stars, again." The crew stood together as Earth slowly woke from its nightmare. Humanity had fallen. Humanity had risen. And humanity would rise higher still.